Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. And I'm happy to have you here with us today. My name is Andreea Maier, and I'm the Investor Operations Manager here at Estate Guru. And today I will be presenting to you one of our most anticipated features of this year, and that is investment strategies. Before I jump into investment strategies, I would like to give you a brief overview of Estate Guru, especially for the ones who are newer to the platform. So Estate Guru was founded in 2014, and it has become the leading European marketplace for real estate-backed loans. Since its founding, we have been growing a lot. And we are becoming an ecosystem for property financing and wealth management. And all our loans are secured by collateral, by real estate property. And the majority of them are secured by a first rank mortgage. In fact, 98% of them are secured by a first rank mortgage, and only very few projects also have second rank mortgage. We also offer everyone the possibility to invest in real estate. So that is something that Estate Guru has made attainable to anyone, in fact, with an investment as little as €50. Let's look at a few key figures. So we are very happy and proud to have financed more than €500 million worth in loans in over 3,000 projects. These projects have been posted so far, launched in 8 countries, and these countries are Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Sweden, Germany, Spain, and Portugal. And our investors, who today are more than 124,000 and growing, have earned €40 million earnings. We as well are a growing team. Today we are 120 employees of 19 different nationalities. So investment strategies, what is it? What has changed and why? Some of you might know that previously this was called Auto Invest, and it was an automated investment feature that we had. It was one of the most loved features, and it was also one that our investors sent us the most feedback about and requested a lot of changes. And these changes had to do with the ease of use, with the availability of features to be selected, with removal of limitations. So with all that in mind, we created the next evolution of Auto Invest, and that is investment strategies. And it is now more than a simply automated investment tool. It is a much more sophisticated product. In fact, it offers tailored investment strategies for each investment style and for each type of investor, be it a newer, non-experienced investor up to experienced investors. We have here the three strategies. I will give you a brief overview of these. I will also share with you what else has changed. And after that, we will also see why it's good to use investment strategies, what value does it add. And finally, at the end of the presentation, there will be a Q&A session. So please, if you have any questions about investment strategies throughout the presentation, feel free to write them in the dedicated section, and at the end, I will look through them and reply. So let's have a look at what has changed. As I was mentioning, we have removed some of the limitations that were previously in place, and one of these and that was the most requested also by the investors, was the minimum investment amount. So whereas previously it was a minimum 50 euro amount, it is now, where previously it was 250 euro amount, today that was removed, and it is the standard 50 euro investment amount, just as with any manual investment on the platform. Moreover, the tool today also invests in open projects on the platform. What does that mean? It means that previously it would only invest in new projects that were being launched after you had activated your auto invest. But today with investment strategies, as soon as you activate it, it can make investments into any open project on the platform. And we have also changed the interface, making it more user-friendly and intuitive. And something that was also greatly asked from our investors, we have also added Spain as a country in which it's possible to invest through investment strategies. And you will find Spain in the balanced strategy and in the custom one. Now, about the strategies. So we have conservative. Conservative is dedicated for investors who have perhaps more lower risk tolerance, who prefer more cautious and patient approach to building, to selecting their projects and building their portfolio. So they prefer an extra secure portfolio. Whereas balanced strategies targeted for investors who maybe have a little bit more also experience, and then they also feel a bit more secure in making the necessary selections that have as an objective maximizing their returns, but as well keeping at the same time security at a premium. And finally, we have custom. Now, the custom strategy can be completely customized, can be created as one likes. So everything inside that can be personalized to create your own and personal investment approach. We will see each of them into detail on the platform, but let's now look at why it is of added value to you to use investment strategy. Well, the first reason is saving time. It might be an obvious one, but considering the amount of projects that we post on our platform and the diversity of projects, if you have to filter to each of them, you want to look at the different markets, you want to look at the different type of loans, the different type of interests, any criteria that you are taking into consideration. Browsing through all of these does take time, and that's why with this in mind, investment strategies, while allowing you to keep full control of your portfolio because you are, and how you are building your portfolio, because you are selecting, you are telling it to invest based on your preferences, but it does that on its own. So without you having to do a manual investment each time. You also have the possibility to tailor it to your specific needs and specific preferences, and that's why you can choose between either the two pre-made strategies, so the conservative and the balanced one, or you can completely create your own strategy, and you can with that choose the level of detailed restrictions or lack of restrictions that you want to have when considering what project you're interested in investing. And speaking of this, or speaking of the many choices that you can have, this really works also in the favor of a diversified portfolio, because You can, with it, build a diversification in terms of geography, for example. So we have currently projects in 8 different countries, which means that the property backing up those projects are located in different European countries, which already brings a really good element of diversification. But as well, you can also diversify based on type of loan that you are interested in, based on interest that you would prefer, interest rate, the loan period. So really many choices that you can use as you see fit. Another important aspect that we considered when we created the investment strategy is that really good projects tend to go away quite fast. In fact, I've noticed some of the projects that are more popular with our investors tend to sometimes be filled in even a matter of hours. But not only that, if we have also projects that have a big preference of investment strategies from already set up from our investors, so that already would that loan would fit their investment strategy, it would also be fulfilled quite fast. So using this type of solution also helps with this, without having to fear that you might be missing out on some really good loans. And of course, it's also really good that it is helping you to earn returns faster. And that is because it will use the available funds on your account to the limit that you set up to continuously reinvest them. So instead of having funds sitting in your account and not earning anything, they will be put to use and reinvested into new projects. So following next, I would like to give a presentation, a demonstration of the investment strategies on our portal, and see how you can work with it. I will share my screen now in a second. So as soon as you log into your account, when you go to the invest page, the first page that you are greeted by is the My Strategy page, where you can see the 3 strategies. So the first 2 are already predetermined, they are already built, and all you have to do, if you go on to the view details, is set up the amount that you would like the strategy to invest on your behalf into a single loan. So per investment, per loan, how much would you like it to invest? It will not invest more than what you set here, but it will invest the amount that you have selected. If we take a look at the details of the conservative strategy, we see that in terms of interest range, it doesn't limit you, so it considers the full range. It can go from projects with the 6 to 12 and above % of interest rate, but it has a preference for shorter loan periods. So here it can be only up to 18 months, the loan repayment period. In terms of countries, you see here only a handful of countries, and these are countries that we have had really good experience with, and so we deem them to be conservative. While in regards to the loan type, you have here all 3 types of loans that we have on the platform. So it can be a development loan, a business loan, or repayment type is only one type. We will see all the types of repayment methods at a later stage when we can select every and play around with the custom strategy. But here, a bullet repayment type means that you will be receiving the interest repayments regularly. It can be monthly, it can be quarterly, it can be every 6 months, depends on the payment schedule. But you will be receiving those on a regular basis, whereas the principal amount will be received at the end of the loan period. And this also includes annuity loans, so annuity repayment types, which basically means that you will be receiving again recurring payments, but of equal repayment amount made out of both the principal and the interest portion here. So this is good because if you receive, of course, if you have interest repayments coming in on a periodical basis, those can be reinvested again. In terms of LTV, so LTV is loan to value. So it is showing you the value of the loan as a percentage of the value of the collateral. So in this case, it is slightly lower LTV. The maximum that we have at the state group is 75% LTV. We do not go above that. So this one has a lower one, and you can see that it prefers loans with first rank mortgage only. It does include refinancing loans, so that is loans that have been financed and are now being refinanced on a state group, not externally, and it does not include stage loans. In the lower part of the page, you can see how many loans with this type of conditions have been issued in the last 6 months, and it also gives you a prediction for the next month. How many loans can you expect to have that would meet this criteria, and how much can you expect to invest in this type of projects? Let's have a look now at the balance strategy. So we see right away that here something changes. We have a loan period, which is the full range. So it considers projects that have a shorter repayment period to up to 16 months repayment period, as well as the countries. Here we have all the countries listed and all the repayment types. So I was mentioning earlier that we have different repayment types, and we saw previously bullet and annuity. There is also full bullet. Full bullet means that both the interest repayments and the principal repayment will be received at the end of the repayment period. And we do have here the higher LTV, which is the highest that we have. And it also considers projects that have both first rank and second rank mortgage. It is important though to note that all the projects that are being open on our platform, before they are open on the platform, they are diligently reviewed by our credit team and approved. So this is not an indication here, security, that it might necessarily mean higher risk or less secure. Include refinancing loans, it does take them into consideration here as well, and it also takes into consideration stage loans. Now, what do we mean by stage loans? So it can happen that there might be a bigger project. For example, if it's a development project, and to finish the whole development of the property would take a longer time, but would also not be possible with a one-time financing from the beginning, because in the beginning the property value is obviously different than what it will be at the end when it will be fully developed. And because we only lend against the current value of the property, there is possibility to finance the project in stages. So after each stage, the property is being reevaluated and financing is obtained accordingly to the value of the respective stage. So what it means is that you will see the same project but different stages of it on the platform, and this strategy will consider investing in all of the stages of that project. And again, we can see here the expected number of loans in the next month that would meet this condition, and how much you can expect to invest in the following month. Now, if we have a look at the custom strategy, here we can really see in detail everything, and everything can be set up by you as you prefer. So interest, you can limit the range. For example, you can put from 9% upwards, and you can leave the loan repayment period. You can restrict it or leave it the full range according to your preference. In terms of countries, right now I have selected all of them, and Spain is also here. So this is new. It was not present previously. And as well, the 3 types of loans that we have seen, and all type of repayment. So we have the bullet, and we have also the full bullet. I will select for this demonstration all loans. LTV can be chosen here, so it can be lower or higher. I will leave 70, and here is where I set the amount that I want the strategy to invest on my behalf. So this means that the maximum exposure to a single loan it means that to a single project that it will invest, it will make an investment of €200. And I'm considering both types of security here. I can choose whether or not to include refinancing loans. In terms of stage loans, I can let it invest in all the stages of the project, or I can also limit that. And I am limiting it by amount, whereas I would say that in a given project, it should not invest more than €5,000. And in that case, once it has reached that amount, it will not go further to invest in subsequent stages. I can do the same with borrower. So I can include all loans from a borrower, or again, I can limit that. So it would consider only what I said here. And in terms of the change that I was mentioning in the beginning, that it now considers all open loans on the platform. So after the strategy has been activated, it can invest in already open loans. If you do not wish to have that option, it can be disabled here. And very important to note is that you can keep some of the funds available on your account as uninvested. And that means that investment strategy will not consider them when it makes an investment. So you can set the amount here. For example, you would like to keep a certain amount for yourself to invest manually. And then it will remain there, but this can also be set up at any time. So you can see here in the upper right corner, you have this possibility to either allow it to invest all available funds or keep the uninvested, and the amount can be modified from here as well. And this can be done with any strategy, not only with the custom strategy, but you always have the option to keep some funds uninvested for manual investment. Finally, for applying the strategy, what I am doing is I am accepting the terms and conditions here, and after having read them and accepting, I will apply it. You will notice that there is a pop-up coming up regarding Spanish investments, and that is because of the latest change. Spain operates in under a slightly different legal framework than the rest of the countries. And after we've taken the necessary actions to bring that into make it uniform and have it included in investment strategies, we do show first this legal notice here. It informs you of the terms regarding the security agent for Spanish loans. And if I desire to move forward with Spain as a country, I will select that I apply it as a country. So for the strategy to take effect, you have to confirm it with your password. And after you have confirmed it, it will apply the strategy. So if we now have a look, I will see here that it is pending. Why is it pending? It can have three statuses. It can either be active. If you do not have enough available funds on your account that are needed for the strategy to invest. So for example, in my case, I selected €200, but I do not have that on my account. It will be pending. It will automatically go back to active as soon as new funds, either I deposit funds or I receive repayments from my project. You can also pause the strategy. So it is done in the same way. You will insert your password and the strategy will be paused, and you can see now the status has also been updated. And that is all I wanted to share with you today in the demonstration. And now I would like to look over at the questions that have been submitted. And please give me just 1 minute. Okay, so whether it is whether it is possible to make investments manually together with the investment strategies, investments, yes, that is possible. As I was mentioning, you can always have the possibility to keep funds available in your account by selecting that in keep funds. Another question is regarding the difference. Could you explain again what bullet and full bullets are? Yes. So full bullet means that you are receiving the repayments, both the interest repayments and the principal amount at the end of the loan period. So you can expect at the end of the loan period to have your earnings, and that is what you have invested and the interest. Whereas the bullet, you will receive, let's say, monthly interest repayments, but the principal amount will be received at the end of the loan period. Which strategy do I recommend? I do not recommend any of them particularly. It really is up to you to understand which one best suits your attitude towards investing, your investment style. You can also play around with them and experience each of them, and then see how your portfolio is built over time, and how you like that, and it can always be changed at any point. Another question that we have is Can I cancel an investment made with investment strategies? No, you cannot, because every investment is binding. So this is the same condition as with the manual investment one. Once you have invested in a project, you have entered into a contract, and that is binding. Okay, this is quite a good point here. Thank you for this question. So it's the question is how do we prioritize whose funds are being invested in the amount eligible from all the investors that are to be considered for that project. So if there are more if there are investors with investment strategy fitting that project, and so the investment amount would be greater than what the project is required, then investment strategies is first prioritizing investors with a lower investment amount set up. So it tends to prioritize, for example, the minimum investment amount, which is €50, and afterwards it will take in all the other investors. It can also happen that because there is an overcapacity of funds that would be invested into that project, that it will take in a lesser amount that you have selected for your strategy in order to accommodate and to allow participation to the project from all the investors. Okay, why hasn't the investment strategy invested into the loan? So it's quite a common question that we get from our investors, and that is they notice that the investment strategy has not made an investment into a loan that is present on the platform, and many investors are asking us why that is. So if you go on the project page under the My Investment section, where you can see there you can see the information that is posted, and investment strategies will actually highlight it there, the reason why I did not invest into that project, and it can be that some of the criteria were not matching. If you do not see there the explanation of why I did not invest, then we recommend you to get in touch with us, because then we will look into each individual case and we will be able to advise accordingly. Okay, let's see one more question. Will I be notified if I don't have sufficient funds? Yes, you will receive an email as soon as your strategy is going into pending status. You will be notified via email, and it will be reactivated again once you have enough available. All right. I would like to thank you all for the great questions, and thank you all for participating today in the webinar. If you have any other questions, please do reach out to us at info@estateguru.co. And if there are questions that I have not answered here today, I will answer them personally after the webinar. And again, thank you everyone for your participation, and I wish you all a great day. Goodbye.